Hi, Julie.
Hello, nice to see you.
Nice to meet you. Thank you very much for being on my show.
Thank you for having me.
So I've gone through a profile. I can see you're doing a lot of work to the society and to the humanity. So I thought to tell about you and the work that you're doing to my audience.
Okay,
So can you please
okay,
introduce yourself?
sure. So my name is Julie Radlauer. I am a doctor of public health and a licensed mental health counselor, and I work in mostly the mental health space. I'm passionate about children's mental health and families' mental health. And since, COVID, societal mental health. I do a lot of work at the population health level, so looking at communities, looking at states, nationally, internationally. I do a lot of research and then bring research to life to arm everyday people with the skills that they need to support their own mental health as well as the mental health of others. And so I do a lot of training, public speaking, research and curriculum development, and then I share that information with children and their families and helpers in different systems. So that's my organization is called Collectively. I'm the CEO and founder of an organization called Collectively. And the purpose of Collectively is to tackle complex challenges through the collective process. So bringing the right people together so that we can collectively solve complex challenges for people and for society.
So what kind of complex problems that you are solving?
Right now, um, I'm working with a state in the U.S. and most of my work is in the mental health space. So we are implementing an evidence-based practice that focuses on bringing different system partners together so that we can help children that are really severely emotionally challenged, children that are in hospitalized or in residential treatments, and trying to get them to be able to inequities in a region of a state where there are documented disparities in treatment services. So we're looking at the whole community and trying to figure out how do we help people access services and supports, and how can we create services and supports that are equitable, and how can we create services and supports in a way that match the culture of the people that need the services and supports. Um, those are a couple of projects that I'm working on that are like definable. I've been doing a lot of research around what I call the social influences of mental health. And so that's focusing on the social aspects of your lives and how you can use those skills every day to impact your level of happiness or impact your mental health. So I'm just about ready to launch and roll out a new line of curriculum that's about social connections, social support, um, social capital, which is that community building work, social media, and social inclusion or social justice. And so I've been creating curriculum for that. I'm about to release a couple of videos around that. I've done some work with a national organization, creating curriculum for their social connections. That's, that they use across the U.S. So like different projects come my way. I get involved with a lot of governmental projects and grant projects. And most of the work that I do is in the nonprofit, government, quasi-government, community building space as opposed to for-profit business. I tend to work more in like the societal piece than the, you know, business piece.
So everything that you do is collectively.
Everything I do is collectively. Yeah, I don't do anything by myself. So, say I'm working in a particular community, we're going to pull the right people to the table and make all the decisions that way. So, like right now, one of the projects I'm working on is a social media project. So I will pull together, I'll be involved in it, obviously, and I'll find youth because most of the social media needs to speak to youth. So I have 2 youth that are working on this project with me. I have somebody who does like, my social media, so she'll be involved in that project from the creative side. And then it's funded through the federal government, so we'll pull them together and have, their representatives be part of the process. And then collectively we'll put together, different posts that can speak to youth about building social connections and social support. And then we're going to then launch that information out into the universe. So every project is, we look at, okay, what is the challenge? Who needs to be at the table? Make sure that the people that are the recipients of service, like the end user, to use your language, is at the table, so that we know that what we create is something that will help them. And then, we solve the problem and then throw the information out into the universe in hopes that that it sticks. If not, then we come back to the table and say, what do we have to do differently? And then we'll go back out and do it again.
So how many people got benefit because of your work? It can be through any medium.
Oh gosh, I don't know the answer to that question. I mean, I can tell you, I've trained or people public speaking, thousands of people, but when you work within communities, you don't really know how many people are impacted by the work that you do. Like, I just did a training about mental health stigma. And so there were 50 people in the room. Okay, so that's nice. That's 50 people. But those 50 people all work with, have caseloads of 20 clients each. So I like to think that the information that I share with them, then that translates down to the work that they do with their families. Or when you do something out on social media, you have no idea how many people, see it. You could see the likes, and whatnot, but you don't know how many people are actually impacted by what you do. So, I don't really know how to answer that question. I'd say thousands,
So having mental health peaceful and having a good mental health is very important for any human being. And what kind of information that you provide to people to have a good mental health?
um, I think, the way that I look at that is, you know, 80% of the population can have their mental health needs met outside of clinical treatment. And I think helping people recognize that they do have some control over their mental health. So 20% need to go get medication or see a therapist, but 80% of people have some control over their mental health. And so I like to empower people with tools and techniques and give them information so that then they can make choices to improve their own mental health. So I can't really tell you exactly what's going to work for you because I have to know what your strengths, interests, and talents are. And then we can figure out a plan to help you use those strengths, interests, and talents to help your mental health. Like I can make some assumptions. You are a connector, right? You like to talk to people. So you're probably extroverted. And so if you're looking to do something that's going to improve your mental health, it would involve something being around other people and connecting and having conversations. And by doing that, that will make you feel better.
And
And
yeah,
good.
go on.
No, no, good.
Your video was frozen. Now it's good. So
Oh, I'm back. Okay.
yeah, so you are TEDx speaker and international speaker as well.
Yes. I do a lot of public speaking. I did a TEDx in Miami, which was super fun. And then I've done various speaking engagements internationally as well as nationally and locally. So yeah, I like to do public speaking because I feel like, I have this message, this information. I've been working in this space for a long time. I need to just share that information with larger audiences.
So how can you bring change in social, social system?
I was interested because I was just reading today that in the U.S. they're trying to pass a bill that talks about creating more social connections in all of our systems. Um, and I think that that's great. I think that that's awareness. And, so sure, we want to do things like that as much as possible so that we can create policies that can impact, social connectedness. I also, though, believe that most of the change that happens within society should happen at the grass level, at the ground level. It should be more of an organic movement. And that's why I love what you do, like being on social media and making those connections that way. Because like I also am trying to spend more time on, putting information out on social media because I feel like the challenges that people are struggling with, they're everyday people and everyday challenges, and there are everyday solutions for that. You don't have to wait to have a policy put in place to improve your social connection. You, as a person, need to take responsibility for what are the things that make you feel good and to make sure you incorporate those things into your life. And that will improve your mental health. And so I want people to know that. I want people to recognize that they shouldn't wait for an appointment with a doctor or a policy to be written to take control of, their level of happiness.
And how can this be possible collectively together? How can this can be possible? Uh, People connecting with each other.
It's interesting because at the local level, a lot of the work needs to be done at the local level. Like I can't tell you how in your community you can connect with people. The same as you can't tell me because we don't live in the same place, we're in totally different countries. Um, but I think that there are skills and techniques that, we can both learn so that you can connect and create that support where you are, and I could do the same where I am. And I think that a lot of those skills and techniques have gone by the wayside. People don't know how to connect with each other because we do so much of it virtually and spend so much time on the computer that, going to a meeting, like if I could just have a quick meeting on Zoom or Teams, it's so much easier than having to get in the car or ride my bike or whatever to get to a meeting. So we just do it this way. And then next thing you know, days go by and you haven't spent quality time with people in human form. And there is a difference in your human body when you don't spend time with other humans. Even if you feel like we're connecting this way, which is great, we are, right? And I love talking to you. But if we were in person, it would be a totally different, our bodies would experience the connection totally differently. And that's the kind of connection you need to have. You can have this too, but this can't be just it. You have to have the human form connection as well.
And you're doing this important service to human beings to make them come together and do good for the to the planet. So every human is unique. Every human have a unique way of thinking and having different emotions, oscillation of emotions in different times. So how you are making this possible? Different thinking people coming together because you are doing collectively.
Well, you know what? That's just how I choose to solve problems, right? Because I feel like everybody needs to be at the table. To me, like that's an important message that people need to hear. If you're trying to solve complex challenges, have a diverse group of people at the table, like the, because then you get better results. I try to like practice what I preach. So if I'm trying to solve complex challenges, I'm going to bring people together for social connections. We're going to make sure that it's a diverse group. Like all of those elements of the social influences are part of the work that I do every day. When it I'm about to release a book that has like 100 different activities that you can use to improve your level of happiness. And all of the activities are around creating awareness about social connection, social support, social capital, social media. And so depending on what your challenge is, either you need to do individual activities or you need to pull the right people to the table so that you can collectively solve complex challenges. Like, every community has to recognize and identify what their own needs are and then work together to solve those needs. And that sense of purpose is something that helps society too. I was doing some research about a project that came out of Africa called Friendship Benches. And people were really struggling with their mental health. And so what they did is they trained grandmothers in this community and taught them mental health techniques, listening skills, some therapeutic techniques. And then they placed benches right outside of the health clinic. And grandmothers who were just volunteering their time sat on the benches. And so anybody who was waiting to go into the health clinic could come and sit with the grandmothers and have a conversation and just learn and just be listened to and be heard and feel connected to. And what they found is people actually just started coming. They didn't have an appointment with the health clinic. They just came to spend time with the grandmothers. And that's such a beautiful project for so many reasons. One is we're offering mental health support in the community for free. Two is many of the grandmothers, they probably didn't have a sense of purpose before. They were home, isolated, socially isolated, lonely, and now they're helping other people. They're serving a purpose, so it helps them too. Because when you think about social isolation and loneliness, many of our elderly are the most impacted by that. They're the most isolated. And so giving them a sense of purpose and allowing them to help others who are struggling, that's like a beautiful thing. It's just a win-win. So there's another project similar to that called Sidewalk Talk, where people are trained in brief mental health interventions, and then they go to like a farmer's market or a health fair or any kind of outside event, even a concert, and put together, tables and chairs, and just they're trained as listeners, and they just sit there. And anybody who wants to come up and talk can be engaged in a conversation and feel listened to and feel supported. And I think we just need to try to find creative ways to do more things like that, to connect with each other at a local level, so that we can decrease this loneliness epidemic that so many people are struggling with.
So I see you're talking with thousands of people giving conferences, participating in conferences as a speaker, telling in front of a lot of people. And I'm sure that collection of people that you're talking to, you're communicating to, that collection is might be a collection of engineers or doctors or police officers, lawyers. There will be different professionals in those collections. So how you are able to ignite that common thing in all the human beings who are into different professions?
That's an interesting question. Especially, when you speak to different people, because there is stigma around mental health and people don't want to talk about mental health. And actually in different communities, the language is different. Just saying the words mental health, some people don't even want to talk about that. But if you say emotional well-being, which is kind of the same thing, they're willing to talk about it. So part of it is understanding the language that people use, and speaking their language. So you have to kind of know that about your audience. Like kids, totally fine with talking about mental health. It's like they don't even care. But when you speak with people who are like a little bit older, like there's more of a stigma towards mental health. So that's part of it, is knowing your audience and knowing what message they need to hear, like the way that you share the information is important. Having said that, I will oftentimes start off, a training or, a session at a conference and just say, how many people know somebody who's struggling with their mental health, and ask people to raise their hand, and everybody raises their hand. And when you look around the room and there's 150 people, 200 people in the room, and everybody's raising their hand, well, then, okay, so we're not talking about somebody else. We're talking about us. because we all know somebody who's struggling with their mental health. Now, the question is totally different if you say how many people here are struggling with their own mental health. Not as many people are going to raise their hand because now you're talking about me, which I may or may not feel comfortable. I might be sitting next to my boss and I don't want to show my boss that I'm, so it's the way you ask your questions to get at the information. But once you can help everybody realize we're talking about them, like not their own mental health, but they're impacted by somebody else's mental health, now they're listening. Okay, so now that I've got you listening, now how are we going to help that person solve their problem? Let me give you some tools. So that, I mean, for me, that's why I like doing the speaking that I do, is because I just want to empower people with, you can help that person. Don't shy away from that person. Lean into that person, and here are some tools that can help you do that better.
And you're doing this job from long time, talking with different people. A lot of your career is filled with talking with a lot of people, and solving issues and telling them what works. It can be through a governmental organization or from your collectively, as it maybe participating in conferences or while communicating with different people in your communities. So eventually you want to say something to everyone. So in this vast career, what you have understood?
So I spent the majority of my career, and I've been working in this space for like 25, 30 years, a long time. Yeah. So I spent the majority of my career working within systems. So I would work within the child welfare system, or within the probation criminal justice system, or within the mental health system, or within the education system, talking to the people that work within those systems and training them and educating them and giving them tools and techniques. And that's been the majority of my work, is working within systems or training people in systems. And now I feel like I'm trying to shift to, how do I get that same information out to the general public? So not just the workers, like say if I do a conference for people within the school system. So I'm going to educate, 500 guidance counselors or school social workers about my techniques, and that's great. And then they'll go and use those techniques with the kids or with the parents, right? Then that's great. Then I've helped a lot of people. But now I want to change my message or tailor my message or change the language that I use or the mechanism that I use to share it so that I can go directly to the parents or directly to the kids instead of training the professionals and hoping that the professionals, I want to do both, because I've always just focused on the professionals and the systems and the people that work within the systems. And now I feel like we're experiencing global mental health crisis. There's over 1 billion people struggling with their mental health. And we have worker shortages in all of those systems, capacity issues in all of those systems. So how do we get the information to the people that need it? You kind of have to go around the system at this point, and you can do both. It doesn't have to be either or. But so that's something that I'm really working on, is how do I do that? How do I share my message differently? Because I've always been focusing on just training professionals, and now I want to get the information out to the world, the people,
And
So
what
can
is
you
your
help me do
target?
that? Can you help
Yeah,
me do
definitely. 100%.
that? Cool. As long as you can help me do that, that's great.
So I'm coming to that point. So how you're going to
Okay.
do this? What are your next
I know.
projects which will help you reach a global audience?
You're going to help me do that. um, I struggle with that. That's why I've been doing larger speaking events. TEDx was about that. The book will be about that. I've been trying to do that a little bit on social media. I need to figure out how to do that, to reach people in a different way through that. But we've got a really good start. I don't really know the answer to that, because I feel like that's kind of like a moving target. You never really know how to connect with people that are not face to face. Like I'm great. If we were in a room, I can, you will walk away with my message. I'm clear about that I've seen happen, for, time and time again. In these other ways, I don't know, I know that I read books and from books, I get information and I practice some of the things in those books to see, will this help me make a change in my life? And that works for me. So I'm hoping to create and share my knowledge that way. Again, the ultimate goal is I want every person to know that their everyday actions can impact their level of happiness. So just focus on the things that you do every day, and life will get better for you.
And what are the projects that you have in your mind that you can tell to those experts who are listening to you right now, who are from different parts of the world, who really want to collaborate with you by understanding the projects that you have and by seeing the positive change that you can bring with the project that you're doing?
That's the social influences of mental health. That's what that project is really about. And so the social connections piece is really geared towards, at the individual level, towards as a supportive unit, your family, your faith, your community, right? How can you create more support systems for people? Or how can you access more support systems? The social capital piece is at the larger level, like as community functioning and societal functioning. How can we support each other and benefit each other, create policies that support and benefit each other? Again, to improve happiness. The social media piece is about how do we get this information out on social media in a way that helps people, that there's a balance, and we learn how to use social media for good instead of harming ourselves. And then the last piece is social inclusion, which is really just this blanket making the world a better place. Like at a societal level, how can we support inclusion for everybody? How can we, can't we just all get along? Kind of that kumbaya piece. But it's like, make sure that everybody is involved in every aspect, include people as much as possible. Make sure that you're speaking to them in a way that they understand, that's going to support them and their needs. Recognizing that different people have different needs and differences are great. So I think and each of those different aspects they can be, if you work within a professional organization and you're concerned about your organization and the mental health of your staff, well, then bring in the piece about the social connections. If you're concerned about how your organization are not working together, well, then bring in the social capital piece. If you're concerned about inclusion within your organization, then let's bring in the social inclusion piece. You know what I mean? So it's very tailored towards the needs of local communities, organizations, communities at large. And so that information is available through the book. It's available through, me coming and doing trainings and working with staff. I do trainings, and then I have people that work with me who do coaching. And they're part of my process. So we don't just come in and do a one-time training. It's like you receive training and then there's follow-up coaching to help you implement within your organization or within your system, the changes that need to be made. So that's really what we've been doing for the past couple of years, and it seems to be working nicely.
So how you impacted the politics in your country?
That's interesting. I was just this morning on Instagram communicating with a senator. I've not done a lot at that level, and so I think I'm probably moving a little bit more into that space. I'm a little hesitant. When I was younger, I was to write some policy, and I got a little frustrated by the process. But I know that, if you're trying to impact larger groups of people, if you want your scope to grow, well, then that's kind of where you need to go. So I'll see what happens with that. That's a to be determined is the way I would answer that question. We'll see what happens.
So the advanced technology that is coming is AI, which is already in the market, and in coming days it is going to be more in the internet. So how you can be part of that and be the you know be in creating a better artificial intelligence machine or thing?
That's you. That's all you. I don't know what to say about AI. I think that yeah, of course it's gonna happen. So it's gonna, the train has left the station. Oh, you're frozen. Sorry. Yeah, no, I'm concerned about, how AI if it can help people or not help people. Um, I don't know. What do you think? You answer that question. How can what I do help AI? I don't know.
So we both should come together in order to create a better AI which will help humanity to work in a uh, positive way and create positive energy and have peace in the world with global connection.
So how do we do that?
That can be possible using the social media tools that we have in the internet and the technology. If we can use the technology effectively and efficiently, if we both, if you come with what is good for humanity because you are expert in that, you know what is good for humans and because you have done a lot of work in your career and I can help you how you can share that valuable information in these platforms, in this communication system, which is called as internet and which we have a lot of mediums and where people are collaborating with each other, having different communities, having groups, and a lot of social media influencers are there. If we can able to collaborate with them, can able to tell them that we have some information to share to these people. So how much audience you have? I'll come to your show. I'll participate in your show. Like that already you have done. But if you can use technology, it will reach very fast. Today we have
Hmm.
something, a medium with which you can reach anywhere in the world in fraction of seconds. But if you know how to do that, it's very simple. And you need,
Yeah,
yeah,
we need somebody that can do it. But so like, I think that knowing having the information and knowing how to share the information are two different things. You know what I
correct.
mean? So like I know that I have information to share, but understanding the way that youth intake, like accept information into their brains at this point is very different. Like a lot of my work was for years was designed in, like a 2-hour training seminar. Well, I can't do that with kids. Like they don't want to sit there and listen that long. Their capacity for sitting is totally different, than it used to be. So now it's like I think something like you have like less than 1 second for people to decide if they're going to scroll or something like that, or 3 seconds or something ridiculous. It just seems like how can you possibly share a message in that amount of time? So like that, all of that is a whole new interesting space for me to understand, in order to share knowledge.
But definitely as a content creator, I'm creating content from last 7 years. I'm into internet, I'm into social media. I have earned 40,000 plus followers in in this span. I got some, I'm writing content. I'm a good writer. I'm a blogger. I used to write a lot of blog posts regarding my technology subjects and also regarding some general topics that I understand. So, we have different platforms and different mediums where people are connecting and watching. Some people are visual, like they want to watch and understand and take the information, so
Hmm.
you do that. And some people just want to read, and you can write books for them, or you can write blog posts for them. And some people want to hear, you can participate in podcasts. So all three I'm doing in Smart
You're
Cherry
doing all three?
Thoughts. Yes. So I'm trying to
Okay.
connect with all the global community using all these three mediums without being physically present. You can able to you should able to convey the information that you have in the form of words that you have in your collection. And I'm sure as an experienced person, you know how to write and how to say something in a simple words. Since today world become one because of the internet. So if you can able to do that, that is best platform. People are everywhere actually. Some people wants to hear and see and hear. So different people wants to take information in different communication platforms. And like you said, there are 30 seconds videos, TikTok, and shorts, YouTube shorts you can create, and you can create Instagram reels, and you can put YouTube community post, or you can also share in Facebook stories, and you can also create Facebook groups, and you can share information. All these, there are number of platforms. I'm using all those platforms to share these interviews. That's why the reason it reached 100 countries today. But it took
100
time for
countries?
me. Yeah, it took
100
time.
countries?
Yeah, but it definitely reaches what you want to say. If your catchment area is very big, if you're targeting a big area of audience, since you have that, that kind of information, which should be reached to large number of audience, if you believe that. So you have to use all the platforms in the internet, how these platforms can help me in spreading the positive word that I have. So all the top platforms that I am using, and I'm also searching what new platforms are coming, and I'm entering into that. So
Oh
it's
my
important.
goodness. It's like, that's the
It's
problem. Once
important.
you figure out how to do it, then it switches. So it's like it's constant searching for more things. So what is your message? Like, what's your central message that you're in 100 different countries?
So, so everybody is same. Everybody have the same things to do, no matter where they live, or what community they belong, or what religion, or what kind of background that they have. Everybody have the common thing. Like you said, mental health is very important for any human being. So, the valuable information that we have, it is not just that we have this, and it's a if it is not useful, it is useless. So that is what I felt. The quality information that we have, it should be moved from one place to another place. If we just have in our place, it is not going to be useful. So it is very important to spread this, like move this in the form of it should travel. Even if I am not there, these videos should still run in the internet. That's my motto. And I'm trying to put your work out through my medium. Definitely, lot of major, countries, professionals will watch this video and hear our conversation. Definitely, they will, know what you're doing, and definitely, I'm sure you'll get a lot of connections, social connections.
So in your country, sorry, my cat. In your country, how do people talk about mental health?
Same like in your country, how they talk, because it's
Yeah.
common.
Okay, so people do talk about it?
Yeah, definitely. They use different methods in order to have that, but still experts like you need to, say it. You are very important for everybody. Actually, you are very important for a politician, for a filmmaker, or for an engineer, any person who belongs to any profession. So yeah, I think they need. And you are spreading word through bigger mediums, like you are spreading word through communities. That is the biggest thing, that the faster way you can reach more people.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I just want to share the information and the knowledge, and I get exhausted by the mechanisms that you're talking about. You have to go on here and do this and do this and this. It's like I just have all this. Let me just write it down and then let other people get it out into the universe. You know what I mean? Because
But hire,
that's the part that's
instead
hard.
of you just be a person who can share the information, hire a person who can do all these things for you. It will be easier, who is an IT architect, or social media, who is well versed with for working in social media for a long time, who knows how algorithms work, because
Mm-hmm.
the information, should reach the places where it is not here. So that is something that an expert can do that. And like totally, it's not just one platform. You target all the platforms. You need an expert for sure. IT professional you need, and he makes things easier for you. You don't need to do anything. You tell them, like, do this. You do this. How many people today I have reached, and in this month, this information, how many, you can see the analytics of your accounts. Like, last month I have these many accounts reached, and the impressions of my account is this. So it's very important to analyze and understand the analytics, and see the progress. And it is very important to see the progress, and make changes. Try to put information in the form that, in all the forms, like shorts and longer videos or podcasts, like, try to make it visible, hearing, like, watching, all the types. So if you can make a good content creator, can able to, present your imagination, like, that particular 30 seconds of video should able to tell the direct point. Nobody has, some people very busy in their life. They don't have time to, see 30 or 40 minutes. So if you can able to put information in short, it takes time, but if that will reach millions of people, if that
Right.
has content. So it's a content creator job. So it's very creative job.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I get it. I get it. So what other questions did you have for me?
So so uh, I can end this interview, and can able to say more suggestions for you in order to improve your service.
Okay.
So what do you want to say to my audience at last, people who are hearing this and watching this? What is that word that you have?
The final word that I have for your audience, I would say that I liked what you just said there, that, everybody is meant that mental health is important to everybody, to politicians, to business, to individuals, to families. I think that that's really important. Like, that is an important message that people need to hear, is they're not alone, that everybody knows somebody, or is, understands mental health more than we did before, whether it's because we ourselves are experiencing, or because somebody that we love, or a friend or a coworker is experiencing it. And that uh, through the social aspects of your life, you can impact that. You can help yourself, you can help your friend or your family or your neighbor, not to be afraid of mental health, and to just be present, and lean in. And you can learn some techniques that can help you connect with others and support others. So if it's somebody that you really care about, then take the time to learn what to do to help them. Like anything else, we can figure it out. We just have to put a little effort into it, collectively.
Awesome. And as a person who is into mental health from long time, working for different organizations at the top level, helping thousands of people, uh, uh, by putting motive, collecting, people, and combining them in order to have a good and peaceful world. What is your observation about my work, my global communication?
I love it. I think that what you're doing is perfect, because you're making connections around the world, and then you're taking that information and connecting other people to that knowledge, so it's like, it's exactly, I love your platform. I love your process. It's been super fun. And I'm learning and teaching, so that's always great, because I always want to learn something too. Um, but I think that if more people could do what you're doing, to connect the dots in their space, I think that that's amazing. I love that you're like a technology guy, but you've gone in all these different directions to learn as much as you can about, like, the world in general. Like, that's awesome. And I think it's a really fun project. I see you should do a documentary or something about what you've done to show people that they can have an idea, like a interesting idea, and then make it happen. And so I look forward to continuing to watch your videos and learning more about what you do, and being connected on our taking over the world in the AI world project. But more importantly, to see you thrive and grow with every person that you connect with, because you learn something every time you talk to somebody too. That's awesome.
So, you being an mental health advocate and helping a lot of communities, I want your observation. This is extremely valuable for me because you have huge experience. In these 3 years of span, I have connected with more than 600 plus professionals from 100 plus countries. Uh, so I'm talking with people who are speaking different kind of English from UK, Canada, and Europe, in European countries, France, and South American, Colombia, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and whatnot. All that, some countries I don't even know until I interviewed them.
Okay,
So
how'd you do all that?
I approached them. I said, like, this is my motive. Will you be for the positive thing that I'm doing? So everybody, like great people like you, have the same intention and motive to have the this have the want up world and the planet to be peaceful and to be, everybody was very happy to be. So me, recently I interviewed a person who is a retired police officer, who did service for 30 years in Canada from Toronto. Before that, I have interviewed a lot of authors who are writing books about different things, like psychological things or like fantasy books, like different kinds. Those are not my subjects. Actually, I'm a technologist. I have to, understand DevOps engineering. I'm a DevOps guy. So I'm a software guy, so I have to understand how software works. Instead of this, I'm trying to connect and communicate and trying to understand how different people are thinking and feeling in different places in the world, who has a different time zone, who has a different viewpoints on different things in the world, who has a different political process, different backgrounds, different experiences. I have interviewed people from all ages, from 13 to 75 or 80. I interviewed people who worked with Bill Gates. I interviewed who worked with Steve Jobs. I interviewed people who are working in NASA, uh, space technology. So I interviewed a lot of people from Microsoft, who are working in Microsoft. I recently interviewed a vice president of Amazon Web Services. So all these higher level people have the same purpose, like you have. So all these people wants to say something to the world, being in different professions. Everybody wants one thing, which is like, spread kindness, give respect to each everyone who, no matter who they are, what they are. So I created a platform and I got a lot of appreciation for this. There is no such platform like everybody can come and see. Like the world don't even know that these kind of people exist. I bought them and I made them to be on my show, and they are talking. Obviously, when you're seeing somebody that you don't know, it is curious. Like every human being is a curious by nature. So I'm naturally a curious person who wants to interview a person that I don't even know. I never met. So that curiosity is making me to, that is a driving force, which is making me to interview a new person every day. And, every month I'm interviewing 20, 30 people. And in 1 year, maybe
That's awesome.
250, 300, like going on. And my target is to interview 4,000 people in next 3 to 4 years.
Oh my goodness, really?
Yeah, that's my
Why
long time
four?
goal.
Why is that? Why that number?
When I started the first video, I thought like I would reach 4,000. So let's see what happens.
That's a long time. That's a lot of people.
So how me having this diversity in my work, how this is going to helpful for me in in my and how it is going to affect my mental health.
Well, I mean, you're a person who's curious by nature, so just getting a chance to talk to people will, impact your mental health. And I like the questions you're asking about, like, what are the lessons that they've learned along the way? Like, those are good lessons especially if you're interviewing older people that have been around the block and they share their pearls of wisdom with you. Why not? Who doesn't want that information? Like if I had done this, it would have changed, my trajectory. Okay, well, I'll see about that. Let me try that. Um, I think it's great. And also, I'm a person that I like to set goals and then achieve them. Like that works for me. 4,000 is a lofty goal. But because that's a lot of years, but, yeah, I think it's great. I think what you're doing is awesome. It's commendable.
So can you share your social media presence to my audience so that they can see what you're doing, can they can follow and they can learn from the information that you share?
Sure. How would I do that? Do I just give you
Can you
what are
spell
they
it?
called? Oh, goodness. Okay. Yeesh. Is that how you do it by spelling? I think my LinkedIn is just by my name, right? So it's Dr. Julie Radlauer-Doerfler. So Dr. Julie, Julie, and then Radlauer, Radlauer hyphen Doerfler, Doerfler. That's my LinkedIn. And then I think Instagram is collectively underscore us, I believe. Yeah. COLLECTIVELY underscore US. Um, those are the main two that I'm on.
And your website?
And my website is collectivelyus.org. So no spaces, just collectivelyus.org.
So I'll put those links on the screen. People who finds our video on YouTube can able to see that there's 50 minutes of video. They can see continuously. And also I'll put the links in the description of this video on YouTube, also on my website as well. People who visits my website can able to redirect to your websites and see the service that you're providing and see what all you're sharing in your websites and your social media. And definitely from my side, a lot of people will reach you through my mediums, and definitely they will get a lot of information I'm billing. And that's the reason I wanted to interview you and tell to my audience, like this person is doing great work and you have to learn from this person. So thank you very much
Thank you.
for giving me opportunity to interview you for my channel.
Oh, thank you. No, I really appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun, and I'm grateful for the opportunity. And I know that you'll help me get the word out about mental health. So for that, I am very grateful.
Can I put this video on my YouTube channel and podcast, website, internet, social media, everywhere with your permission?
Yes. Yes.
So yeah, thank you again, Julie, for your presence and sharing the information and sharing what work you are doing and how it is helping humanity.
Thank you for what you're doing. I think it's awesome that you're getting the word out for people and just making a connection. I am touched by anything that promotes connection. And so this is just another example of great connection. Like I love it. So that's why I said I think you should do more. You should do a documentary about it, like your journey through this process and what you've learned. You should take time to reflect. If you don't do that, you should reflect on each interview and like what's something that you learned or one takeaway. Because then at the end, you could be like 1,000 takeaways from my time, interviewing people across the world kind of a thing. I see definitely people would, especially because you've got such a global, group that you could say like, advice from around the world kind of a thing and pull out like the pearls of wisdom that people shared with you. That would be amazing. I would read
Def-
it.
Definitely, I'll put that in my mind. And also, I want
Yeah.
you to work in AI, and experts like you really want technology. Really help technology to technology is something that today helping a lot of people in the world. So if you can contribute to the technology world with your information, definitely it will help the creating quality technology products and services.
I will help. Pull me into a project. I'll help you. Absolutely. If there's something I could do. I don't know what that would look like. So you'd have to tell me what support you need, but I'm happy to support you.
You already reached with this interview. Thank you again.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Bye. Bye.